A couple days ago was January 1st, and as you all know, a bunch of new LEGO sets came out. Now, if you follow my channel, you'll know I'm a huge fan of LEGO Ninjago, and because I'm a part of the LEGO Master Network, I got all the new Ninjago sets early. I'm very thankful to LEGO for that, but because I already had all of them early, I really didn't have any Ninjago stuff to buy on January 1st. However, I had a very fun idea. You see, one of the sets that came out on January 1st was the Jay's Mech Battle Pack. This is a really amazing $10 set that comes with 2 hero minifigures and 2 villain minifigures, and interestingly, it's marketed as a battle pack. Now, battle packs are not really something we've seen in Ninjago before. There was a LEGO Store exclusive blister pack back in 2013, but that was about it. More typically, the term battle pack is used for LEGO Star Wars, and it's a set that you're meant to buy multiples of to build up an army, whether that be clone troopers or stormtroopers or something else. So if we take the name of this new set literally, the Jay's Mech Battle Pack, I wanted to see how good it actually was as a battle pack, so on January 1st of this year, I bought 7 copies of this set. That of course adds to the one that I already have for a total of 8, but I wanted to see what it was like having multiples and whether or not I thought it was actually worth army building. However, the main build of this set's not exactly massable. It's a mech for Jay, which is cool, don't get me wrong, but you really only need 1 mech for Jay. He's not going to pilot multiple mechs at once. So I wanted to take things a few steps further. Of course, there's more ninja than just Jay. In fact, we have 8 ninja now, so I wanted to recolor my extra copies of these sets to make a mech for every single ninja. These mechs are of course small and simple. They're not the best Ninjago mechs we've ever gotten, but I thought it would be really neat to have a small mech for every ninja in this style. So I went through the parts of my own collection as well as ordered some more parts for Bricklink, and well, let me show you how everything turned out. So first off, here's the result of the minifigures in the 7 battle packs. Unsurprisingly, it is 7 of each minifigure. We have 7 of Mech Suit Jay, 7 of Master Lloyd, and then 14 total villains, 7 Wolf Mask Warriors, and 7 Wolf Mask Guards. And obviously, these figures on the left I didn't necessarily need multiples of, especially Mech Suit Jay. Like, I think the figure's cool, but I don't know what I'm gonna do with 8 of these. Because yeah, of course, if I add in the figures I already had, that takes everything up to 8. Master Lloyd is a really cool minifigure, and he's definitely one I wanted duplicates of. I don't know if I needed this many duplicates, but hey, I guess I'll never run out. Certainly will have this guy forever. But I think most importantly, it is very cool to have this many villains. The Wolf Mask Warriors I think have a super cool design. I've talked about them in lots of my reviews, but the double and mask piece is super high quality, so getting so many of them is amazing. Now we will have to wait and see them in the show, because who knows how many of them there actually will be in the show. If there's a lot, I'm going to be very happy that I bought this many, but if there's only a couple, this might look a little bit silly. Regardless though, it is cool to have so many. I'm actually not typically an army builder. This is my first time quote-unquote army building anything, but because the set was so cheap and I thought it would make for a fun video, that's why I did it. And I mean, I get the appeal. It's very cool to have all these guys laid out. And it's also nice to get so many of the Wolf Mask Guard, because as of right now, these guys are somewhat uncommon. They only come in this set and one of the gimmick sets, but if they are going to be just as common as the Wolf Mask Warriors, it's nice to get so many of them here too, just to build up the army a little bit more. And then here's a look at my entire Wolf Mask army if I include all the different sets that I have. So of course, this is 8 copies of the Jay's Mech Battle Pack, and then 1 copy of every other set from this wave. So I've got the 3 generals at the front right here, Jordana, Lord Roz, and Cinder. And then of course, the Wolf Mask Warriors are the most common ones. There's the ones with claws and the ones with swords. And then I also have 9 Wolf Mask Guards, or of course the ones with the hoods. I can't lie, this is really neat to have lined up all together. These guys look awesome. I don't think I need any more than this. I think this is the perfect sized army. It's a lot, but it's not too much. I'm not going crazy. I'm not doing a 200 clone trooper base plate. But for Ninjago, this is really great. And theoretically, they might be coming in sets in March too. We know at least they're coming in a 4+ set, and Cinder's coming in 1 more set, though I can't say for sure about the rest of the wave. But there you go. I just wanted to show you the results of army building the battle pack. At the end of this video, I'll talk about whether or not I think you guys should actually do this. But now let's get to what's arguably the more exciting part, the custom mech builds that I made. Here's all my custom ninja mechs lined up, and as you can see, they're not really custom builds. They're mostly just different recolors of the Jay's Mech. A few of them use a few pieces different, but they're basically the same thing. Because while I could definitely modify these to be like more unique to each ninja, I thought it would be fun to keep them the same and just change the colors around, to just have like a full consistent lineup. And I have to say, this is genuinely really cool. I had a ton of fun doing this, and even though these are far from the best looking Ninjago mechs ever, it's going to be a ton of fun just to have them all lined up on a shelf, because it is a mech for every single ninja in the same style. I'm now realizing I didn't do one for Wildfire, because I don't know her status as ninja on the team. Maybe I should have. Maybe I can make like a YouTube short following up with that, and I can buy 1 more of this set. But I don't know, it kind of reminds me of like Bionicle, seeing all these guys lined up. Each ninja has their own like striking color scheme, but they're all in the same scale and you can pose them. So let me show you each of them up a bit closer. So I'll start with Jay, because of course he's the original set, the official set, because I want to talk about the different parts that I took into consideration when recoloring this. I left all the ninja with the gold pieces and the gunmetal gray guns, and of course things like the cockpit and the joint pieces can't really change color. That's why they're gray on Jay and not like blue or something. So there's 3 main colors I wanted to swap around. First, Jay's main color, which is of course blue. That's what's used for the cockpit here as well as on the legs, and then also the slope piece on the back. And then the secondary color, which in the case of Jay is dark blue, that's used on the waist as well as on the feet. And then the third color is this bright yellow, and there's only 1 part that uses it, though it's used 5 times in the set. You can see it's used under the shoulder pads, in the middle of the feet, and then around the back, which that looks a little bit funny, but I still want to stick with it for the other ones. Now these colors do correspond to the Jay's mech suit minifigure. He of course uses regular blue as his main color, dark blue as his secondary color, he's got that golden trim, and then he also has a bright yellow belt. So I wanted to try to make the other mechs match the mech suits in the same way. And for some of them that worked, others not as much, but let me show you how each of them turned out. First of course we have Cole, who uses black as his main color and orange as his secondary color, and I think that actually looks really sleek on this mech, especially with Cole in there. That's a really cool color scheme. Now the color on his belt, I'm not sure if you guys can see that, is actually dark gray, and originally that's what I had for these black pieces right here, the ones that are bright yellow on Jay's mech. However, I quickly swapped them out for black just because I felt like black fit in a lot better, because there is already a bit of dark gray in the mech from the joints, and I felt like using the rounded pieces in dark gray just really blended in. So that was a creative choice I made, and I think this looks a lot better. And then yeah, of course, as I mentioned, I left the weapons the same for all of them, which if you guys want to do this for yourself, it could be a lot of fun to switch up those weapons, but again, for simplicity's sake, I wanted to keep them all the same. Zane's mech I pretty much stuck to a T. White is the main color, this like lighter blue is the secondary color, and then a touch of light gray too. The light gray I think actually fits in alright for Zane. There is a few parts like on the feet where I feel like it's a little out of place. It makes the feet feel very disjointed, but I think everything's close enough that it works. And yeah, of course, this matches the official Zane minifigure, because he uses that white as the main color, the lighter blue is the secondary color, and the light gray on his belt. Zane's my favorite ninja, and I'm very happy with this one. Kai was of course red as the main color, dark red as the secondary color, and then on the actual minifigure, his belt is bright orange. Now the piece that I needed, I don't believe exists in bright orange, I could be wrong about that, but I'm pretty sure it doesn't, so I decided to use burnt orange instead. I feel like that fits the element of fire really well, while also fitting in with the other colors in this mech, and also not feeling too out of place for Kai. Would have liked bright orange here for sure, but I think this was a perfectly fine alternative option. And this guy does look quite good. Now coming to Lloyd, this is probably the mech that breaks my rules the most, because none of the colors actually match the minifigure inside. Mech pilot suit Lloyd of course uses bright green, dark green, and then lime green on the belt, and I kind of shuffled that around a bit here. For one, as the main color, I don't use bright green, I use normal green. And normal green used to be Lloyd's main color, but it switched to bright green with Dragons Rising. But bright green is a much rarer color, so just pieces don't exist in that color too much. So the cockpit wasn't in that color, and neither was like the leg pieces, so I decided that normal green would be fine. And then dark green is the secondary color. I think the pieces did exist, but if I remember correctly, the Brooklyn seller I was buying from didn't have them, and I didn't have them in my own collection either. And I was like, you know what, I'm already not using the right color. Let's go crazy and mix things up a little bit. So this actually more matches the color of Lloyd's core suit, not his mech pilot suit from Dragons Rising. But still, I think the lime green fits him well, and it definitely helps this mech stand out from some of the other ones. So I'm fairly happy with this decision. And then the other change I made is on the legs. You can see that's a slightly different piece. It's 2 cheese slopes instead of that like longer great piece. That great piece does exist in green, I just didn't have it. And I considered buying it, but I was like, you know what, I'm gonna have to switch it up on one of the other mechs, which you guys will see in a moment. I might as well switch it up on Lloyd too, just to give some more variation. But of course, he still fits the overall design. Like, this mech isn't too different from the other ones. You also may notice I don't have a third color on this mech. I used lime both with the secondary color and the third color, but I felt like that kept things consistent, and it worked in this case. Next, Nia I knew was gonna be the hardest, because she has the weirdest color scheme. She uses gunmetal gray and azure, and then also a little bit of dark red, all of which are fairly rare colors, and only one of them had a cockpit piece. So technically, dark azure should have been the color of the cockpit piece, but I kind of reversed the secondary main colors on this one, because gunmetal gray was the only one of her colors that had a cockpit piece. Or I guess technically there is dark red as well, but gunmetal gray fits her better than dark red does. So I used that as the main color for the chest, and then I moved azure down to the secondary color for the feet. But then on the waist, where on all the other ninja I also used their secondary color, here I actually used dark red, which is of course actually the color on her belt, because that's a very different color that definitely stands out. So I thought just having it on the feet and on the arms would look very out of place, but because it's a color that she specifically uses on her belt, I thought having it at the waist would be kind of perfect, and I think it fits pretty well. Now gunmetal gray is a color that not a lot of parts are made in, so that like great piece on the legs just did not exist in that color. I considered using like chrome silver because it's similar and that piece does exist, but I eventually just decided to use one of these ingot pieces because they're the correct color and they still add some texture. Would like to swap that out one day maybe, but I think it's perfectly fine for my purposes. And then I still have the azure around the back. So this is probably the wackiest looking one in this video, but you know, for Nia, this is about what I expect at this point. I'm still fairly happy with it though, and I think in the overall collection she looks fine. Next we have Aaron, who's probably one of my favorites. Of course, bright orange for the cockpit. He did have an official mech in the wave, but it was a 4+ mech and it wasn't very good, so I didn't want to just keep that one. I wanted to give him one that matches the J mech, but I could still use that same cockpit piece, which was very nice. He uses regular orange as a secondary color just like Cole, but bright orange and normal orange versus black and normal orange look very different, so I was fine reusing those parts between them. You can see Aaron's also a character who did not have that great piece on his legs. Him and Nia, I believe, are the only ones I couldn't get that part for, but I do think the cheese slopes work well. And then for the third color, the color that of course matches his belt, I used sand green, which is very different from all the other colors on the mech, but I think helps make it uniquely Aaron's. It's not just an orange mech, it's an Aaron mech specifically. I think it worked well. And then finally Sora, I played around with her color scheme a little bit too, because I wanted her to be more distinct from Zane and Jay, because of course her color scheme is dark blue, white, and this pink color, and dark blue is Jay's secondary color and white's Zane's main color, so I very much could have done that, but I don't know, then she would have matched those two a lot. I thought it was more interesting to swap those two around and do dark blue as the main color and white as the secondary color, and I think it turned out alright. I will say the dark blue chest plate feels a little bit weird on Sora, maybe could look a bit better, but I do like the white feet at the bottom, especially with the pink bit in the middle. And yeah, pink is the third color, definitely helps this mech stand out. Of course, Sora doesn't have a traditional ninja suit or mech suit, so it's hard to pinpoint exact colors on her, but this is very clearly her color scheme. Just like Nia's, it's kind of unique compared to all the others, but I'm fairly satisfied with it. And there you go, there's the result of me army building the Jay's Mech Battle Pack. Overall, I did have a lot of fun with this. It was super cool to put these mechs together and just recolor them. And even though the base J-Mech build is like far from my favorite, having it in every color for every ninja is super cool. And I'm looking forward to displaying these on the shelf. It's also great to expand my villain army so much. These figures in the end, don't know if I need so many of them, but hey, I mean, I'll take them, I guess. But do I recommend that you guys actually do this? I mean, that's up to you. Obviously, this is a lot cheaper to army build than a Star Wars Battle Pack. That being said, Star Wars Battle Packs only come with 4 army buildable figures. This only comes with 2 actual army buildable figures, 4 figures total, but only 2 you actually want to build an army of. And I did have to order extra parts to build these other mechs. They're not just pieces from the same set. So I'd say if you're a Ninjago fan and you have some extra money and this like seems like a fun project to you, I did have a lot of fun with it and it's really awesome displaying these together. But if you don't really care about army building these villains or anything, there's probably better ways to spend your money. I will say $10 Battle Pack is a great deal, don't get me wrong. I love that set, that's why I bought so many of it. But I think for most collectors, one of the set's plenty. But hey, if you want to buy more, this is an option you have. I think that's about all I have to say for this video though. Let me know which of my mechs was your favorite in the comments and what you thought of this video overall. If you want to see my full review of the Jay's Mech Battle Pack, I'll put a card in the top right corner, as well as a link in the pinned comment if I forget. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like on it and subscribe to my channel if you're new, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye!